What's up everyone, it's Caddy with Money Investing. So welcome on board for another Market Open live stream here. So I am trying out with a different resolution. So let me know in the live chat if everything is working well, the audio and the video. Just want to make sure that there's no technical difficulties, that there's no issues, and we are able to you guys are able to hear me and of course see the video and the audio, everything works well. But here, this is the big catalyst here on the day. Obviously, we've got Twitter shares soar more than 20% after Elon Musk takes a 9% stake in social media company. So Musk now owns over 73 million shares of Twitter, which represents a 9.2% passive stake in the company according to the SEC 13G filing. And the stake is worth just under $3 billion based on Friday's closing price. So that is big news. That is definitely, very, very substantial stake in the company. And, obviously that's one of the reasons why actually the only reason Twitter is up right now, up close to over 21%, 22%. At one point, this thing was up over 25%, but right now it's trading at just under $48. So a very, very strong move to the upside. I do think that there's some different objective that Elon Musk has with Twitter buyout potentially, because the market cap is so low, like $31 billion for a guy who's worth over $200 billion. That's nothing, right? So you can definitely buy out the entire company given how small the market cap is. So I'm pretty sure that there is definitely an objective here in play, and Elon Musk would like to, he's had some thoughts about starting his own social media company, so, that's something that could be in play, but this is definitely a very, very big stake. I can't imagine he's buying this just to make money, because, again, the guy has no shortage of money. Obviously, he's worth, hundreds of billions of dollars. He's the richest person in the world. So I don't think that his main motive with buying Twitter shares is to actually make money and just thinking, oh, Twitter is undervalued right now, might as well just buy 73 million shares and make a profit. I don't think so. I think there's much bigger motive for Elon Musk to actually go after Twitter. So again, we'll take a look at how this develops and if this stake actually goes up for Elon Musk. But UBS comes out and they said it's time to buy NIO shares after the Chinese electric vehicle maker's 44% drop in the past year. So they did upgrade NIO from hold to a buy rating. Morgan Stanley is naming TSMC as a catalyst-driven idea. Morgan Stanley is also reiterating Amazon as overweight. We got Goldman Sachs reiterating Tesla as a buy, and then UBS also upgrading NIO to buy from hold. So UBS Evidence Lab EV Consumer Survey reveals NIO's improving brand recognition, providing a basis for new products, strong sales volumes in our view. So NIO is also up, I think, close to 6% pre-market. So it's actually up over 5.5%, back over $23 right now. So moving forward, so how many millions did he spend to buy Twitter? Well, he spent close to $2.9 billion. So close to $3 billion with a B is what he spent in buying about 9% of Twitter shares. So definitely a big, big purchase. UBS reiterates Apple as a buy. We got Bank of America reiterating Spotify as a buy. Citi reiterates AT&T as a buy. Goldman Sachs names JP Morgan as a top pick into earnings. And Loop reiterates Disney as a buy as well. And Wells Fargo reiterates JP Morgan as equal weight, although they did lower their price target to $150 per share on the stock. And of course, delivery numbers that came out for Tesla over the weekend, they delivered over 310,000 vehicles despite exceptionally difficult quarter for the company. Production was at roughly 305,000 vehicles, and Tesla right now pre-market is up just about 38 basis points. So quick take here on the markets. We have the NASDAQ ETF up over 30 basis points. Kind of very similar to what we have seen the last couple of days. The market's been open. We've seen somewhat of a green start to the day, at least in the pre-market. And then we've seen a significant pullback and, of course, a sell-off intraday. And for the S&P, we're up 13 basis points. The Dow Jones were only about down 4 basis points, so more or less flat here in pre-market trading. Volatility is up over 3.5%, so we're back over 20 levels. So again, very, very consistent with what we have seen in the past. It's coming down to lows of 20, 19, 18 levels, and we're seeing a little bit of a pushback higher. And then oil prices continue to kind of trade inside this symmetrical triangle. By the way, Cathie Wood and ARK Invest, I put out that video, so make sure that you do check out kind of like a whole summary of what was discussed from Cathie Wood and ARK Invest after the Unemployment Friday jobs numbers came out on the first Friday of the month. So there was a lot to dissect there. She is still very, very bullish on disruptive innovation. She, again, it has concentrated her portfolio down to 30, 35 stocks, all the way from 50 names down to 30, 35 stocks. And speaking of oil, she mentioned how they have been wrong on oil for a long time. And of course, with this commodity crisis going on, nobody foresaw oil prices getting up to over $130, $140 a barrel. And now, according to Cathie Wood, the peak may already be in for oil prices moving forward. For crypto, Bitcoin's now very well just validating that support at 45, 46,000. So this right here is going to be a very, very strong support level for BTC. We broke out, we came right back down, consolidating sideways at that support. So previously we were struggling to even break out over that resistance, and now that we have, that's acting as a support level. And for Ethereum, 3,300 is going to be that support all the way up to 4,150, that next resistance for us to watch. All right, so let's take a look at some of the live chat here, and let me know what you guys think about the markets. I'm just going to start that poll. We got about 10 minutes left for markets to open, and let me know what everybody thinks about the poll today and where the sentiment is on the day from everyone. So, Brian, you made a video about XBI Biotech Index. Would you prefer this over ARKG, or they are both very different? So they are very different. For one, XBI is a lot more diversified. It's got almost 160 stocks that it actually has versus ARKG that only has about 30 names. So, diversification, obviously XBI is more diversified versus ARKG that's more concentrated. And then ARKG, you can also find some, mid-cap, large-cap names. XBI, you can also find some mid-cap, large-cap, but it's mostly made up of some of the smaller cap stocks, smaller cap names, where the market cap is going to be 1 billion, 2 billion, around those. The expense ratio, in my view, I think is for ARKG is a lot higher versus XBI. But if you want something a little bit more conservative and more safe to play the biotech sector, there's also an ETF called IBB. That's your iShares Biotechnology ETF that has some more kind of like large cap blue chip names. And over the last 1 year, this thing is only down 12%. Year to date, this is only down close to 12, 13%. So it's a little bit more conservative, more safe in the biotech sector, as opposed to XBI, which is, again, you've got that small cap stocks also playing a big role. And as a result, this ETF is down about 16% year to date and close to 32%, which is, almost 3 times more than your IBB. And of course, if you want something a little bit more leveraged, if you are more aggressive with your strategy, again, I don't know your risk tolerance, your risk appetite, nobody knows that. So that's why I'm presenting you guys different options out there. LABU is going to be a little bit more on the aggressive side, which obviously over the last 1 year is down over 78%. Year to date, this thing is down 51%. But the reason I'm looking at this one now, because for one, it's trading at its lowest point ever since this has obviously been public, but you have to understand this is more correlated with the XBI. Supply demand doesn't do anything for leverage ETFs. It's just a note or a fund just tracking the underlying benchmark, which in this case is going to be XBI, right? It tracks XBI's movement. So this is really what you would be betting on, if you are buying into LABU. But if you are in general bullish on biotech, XBI, IBB, those are some options out there. If you want to be a little bit more concentrated, more specific, then of course ARKG is also an option out there, which is more on the genome editing, genomics side, not specifically just biotech. So yeah, those are some options out there. Again, we're just validating this higher low. This is ending support on XBI, which is why I'm definitely considering closing out my puts today on LABU. We're up close to 60% on these. So right now it's up pre-market 2%. I'm definitely considering just taking the profit, closing those out, and then selling very, very close at the money puts, so that the premium is going to be higher, but also higher probability of assignment for this particular ETF. But again, it's super risky, and just because I'm doing it doesn't mean that you have to. You have to do your own research and your own analysis, and you have to kind of tie that in with where you stand. For one, with the biotech sector, do you really believe that that is going to be the future? If you think that it's got a lot of potential upside, and then number two, what's your risk appetite, right? Are you comfortable with a leveraged product? Are you comfortable with a non-leveraged product, or something more safe like IBB? So that's kind of like my thoughts on this overall biotech sort of rally that we're expected to see moving forward. All right, so is VIX on Robinhood same as the VIX we talked about? The actual price differ, that's the reason of this question. So volatility here, let's take a look. So VIX. I just want to make sure that you're not actually seeing, I don't know if Robinhood has VIX. I'd be surprised if they do. Does it say that it's not tradable on Robinhood? I've actually never looked at it myself on Robinhood. I know that TD Ameritrade has it. I know that Webull has it. Not sure if Robinhood has VIX. If it says, if it does say like CBOE volatility index, then it's going to be the same thing. So yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't see it on Robinhood. Yeah, I see VXX, I see UVXY, I see VIXY. So I do see some short-term, futures ETF and ETNs, but I don't really see the actual volatility on Robinhood. So you might be looking at something else. So do you think the 30-year mortgage went up too high? Then how much the Fed's date hike was? Did it price? Ranjit, you got to rephrase that question, man. I can't even read it. Do you think 30-year mortgage went up too high? Then how much the Fed's date hike was? Did it priced in higher so soon? Yeah, can you write that again? There's like so many different questions in that one question. But anyway, so we'll be closing, on QQQ. This is something that we'll be watching very closely. So a little bit of a downtrending channel here. So still making those lower highs and lower lows. Support level is going to stay put at 361. I want to say that's going to be a very strong support. Seems to be getting validated here at that level pre-market. So we'll keep a close eye at those, and then resistance stays all the way up to 370. That's a big pivot that we're watching very closely, right? If you get a bullish breakout past 370, then we are possibly looking at that continuation of that uptrend. But of course, if we do see any type of selling pressure, if we continue to kind of trade inside this downtrending channel, come down to 357, possibly down to 352, then we are possibly looking at a higher low. Higher low is also really important for the markets, because we definitely made a higher high, but now is the time for the markets to make a higher low moving forward. So all right, let's see where we are with the poll. 64% green. Wow, only 22% people expect the markets to be red. So that's about 1 in 4 people expect the markets to be red. And 64%, that's a very bullish sentiment here on the market, with 14% expecting the markets to be flat. So very, very interesting sentiment here. So relative performance chart, we did see a little bit of underperformance here the past week, although this was still up last week as well. 3 consecutive weeks of outperformance from the NASDAQ, right? So very, very strong underperformance here, and now we're starting to push right back higher. And right now, pre-market, we're up over 16 basis points for this one. And the yields, obviously, that's been the big topic of discussion, with the 10 and the 2-year yields turning negative. -4 basis points, the 30 and the 5, -9 basis points, and the 10 and the 5, -16 basis points. So all of them have pretty much turned negative, pointing to a potential recession, which also Kathy Wood addressed in her video. She talked about how either growth is going to disappoint, or inflation is going to disappoint, or both. And she believes that inflation is going to disappoint big time, where there's significant inventory buildup. Retail sales are already starting to come down. Consumer spending is dropping, and she brings up auto sales. She brings up, inventory buildup, all that stuff, pointing to the idea that inflation will start to come right back down on its own. So time will tell if that actually does happen, but that will put us in a very, very bullish environment, because the yield curves right now are pricing in at least 5 to 6 rate hikes moving forward, but if the Fed changes their mind and only does maybe 2, 3 rate hikes, or even 4, that's going to be far lower than what the market's anticipating, and that's going to put us in a very bullish environment at the moment. So, all right, so we got about a minute left for the markets to open. This is going to be the broader indices here, and I'm going to open up the 4 split screens for us to watch individual stocks as well. AMD pushing up nicely, up over 1.65%. So definitely moving back higher, back up to close to 110 here. PayPal is also green so far, up over 21 basis points. We got Apple up over 11 basis points. Walgreens is still down slightly today. Alibaba and NIO and a lot of Chinese stocks are doing very well today. So Alibaba's up over 4.7%. Amazon's up 33 basis points. And then we got Meta Platforms. Facebook also pushing up, with Tesla up close to 40 basis points and Nvidia slightly down. We'll keep Twitter over here. We'll see how Twitter's price action is going to be like. We're already starting to see a little bit of profit taking, so we got up to this $51, a very, very strong move. And right now it's only up about 21%. All right, off we go with about 60% investors expecting the markets to be green today, at least on our live stream here. That's where the sentiment is. LABU is up over 2%, close to 2%. LABD, the alert went off because it is now potentially starting to break down a key area of support right now. So this is definitely on watch because remember, that's the inverse relationship between LABD and LABU. So, I'm trading in LABU, so I need to watch the inverse as well. All right, so off we go. The Dow is underperforming. If you come over to the Dow Jones index here, we got McDonald's, 3M, we got JP Morgan, we got Procter & Gamble, Cisco, Walgreens, Caterpillar, some of the big underperformers on the day. And what's actually moving up is Salesforce. Salesforce is perhaps up the most. That's in the Dow, a tech company. That is pushing up over 1.2%. Nike is slightly higher. We got Chevron, Apple, flat on the day. But Dow is definitely hurting far more than the NASDAQ at the moment, which is still up 27 basis points. Look at Twitter, 25%. Pre-market high is going to be $51. So we'll see if we actually do break past this $50.50 level of resistance on Twitter. That's going to be that big resistance level. That's going to be the Elon effect, right? If Elon jumps in, it's lots of people are going to be buying on that news. Meta Platforms, big pop right at the open. I tend to not trust these moves right at the open because usually we've seen them fade over very, very quickly. Same with PayPal. And we got Amazon with a big sell-off here, pretty much flat. And AMD also giving up on some of the gains from pre-market. Keeping a close eye on QQQ here. So let's just jump over to the 5-minute chart. Again, 362, 361 is going to be that big area of support to watch. We're still trading inside this downtrending channel. I would still call this a downtrending pattern for the Qs overall, just making lower highs and lower lows. But 361 support, resistance next 370, which is pretty far away, 2% away, a little bit over 2% away. So TM Knight says deja vu. So what is deja vu for you? What is it that you are experiencing right now that you've seen before? Is it a big rally coming up? Is that what you're anticipating, or? All right, Apple with a big pop right at the open, and Meta Platforms continuing in the first 5 minutes. Big jump. Tesla giving up on some of the gains here, just turned negative. And Twitter also seeing some profit taking. Twitter is going to have, unfortunately, some overhead supply because people have just been trapped in Twitter for a long time. So, if you take a look at this, big gap up. Obviously, it's been selling off. Prior to this gap up, it was down 50% from all-time highs. If I take a look at the cost basis breakdown, and let me just share that screenshot if I can find it. So let's just take a quick look. Prior to this breakout here, wow, it's actually not bad. So let me just share this with everyone. So prior to this breakout, we had So this was the cost basis breakdown for Twitter, and this is as of April 1st. Again, we're going back last week. Lots of people actually did dollar cost average on Twitter. Average cost was sitting at $38.95, close to $39, and we had over 73% of shares profitable prior to this rally. Right now, Twitter is up to as high as $48, so it's probably gonna take in all these people that are red. They're all gonna turn positive today, so that's great. But $39 was the average cost, with about 73% after today's rally. I'm gonna guess like over 85, close to 90% of investors in Twitter are gonna be profitable after this big gap up if it holds. But there's still gonna be some overhead supply to watch out for, right? Because there's still people holding from the 50s, from 60s. If they want to minimize their losses, if they want to kind of get rid of the stock because it's not really done anything in a long time, that could result in some selling pressure. And then, of course, all the people that just turned profitable could also see that as a way to get out. So, not always, but usually when you see these big gap up days with the green days, we see like a red candle, right? Green day with a red candle marks a big profit-taking day for that stock. So NASDAQ pushing up in the first 10 minutes here, up over 45 basis points. We got the S&P, still flat here, and the Dow is down about 45 basis points. So big discrepancy there between the Dow and the NASDAQ. We got PayPal up 1.64%. We got Apple, wow, look at that. Big green candles coming in. With Meta Platforms also close to 2%. Again, not trusting this at all. We've seen this pattern play out the last 3-4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've seen the markets, especially Facebook and PayPal, tend to pop right at the open, and then they give up on almost all the gains throughout the day. So, be cautious here. Obviously, I've bought as many shares as I possibly could, sub 100 on PayPal and sub 200 on Facebook, but we'll continue to monitor that. Nvidia pushing right back higher. AMD also pushing back up 75 basis points, and then we got Amazon also up over 0.5%. So this again is going to be that relative chart. We're seeing that fourth straight week of outperformance from the NASDAQ with respect to the S&P 500. So we'll see if we continue to kind of push higher, and we need to take out the high of 0.80. So that would be a big pivot if we take out the previous high on this relative performance chart. So VIX, which is more correlated with the S&P, still up over 3.5%. Oil prices still pushing higher, up 2% right now. In fact, all the commodities are pushing up. Wheat, we got lumber prices, platinum, aluminum, all pushing up. Ethereum's getting a bit of a pullback, with some of the crypto-related stocks more or less flat. Coinbase is up 1.8%, with Mara, Riot just flat on the day so far. All right, there's the push higher on the QQQ, up over 0.5%. But again, we got a long way to go up to 370. There's going to be lots of resistance to be found along the way. I think the first most important level to watch really is going to be this 364 resistance, because that's where we got rejected at here twice, right? So we got up, got rejected, second retest, breakdown. So that's going to be that first level, and then of course all the way up to as high as 366. Pretty much all the resistance along the way. So Walgreens, Alex, I will be looking into buying sub $40 for Walgreens to buy more. Right now, just holding off. All right, let's just run through the list, run through the entire watch list, see what's moving. Starbucks is down big time, unfortunately, because their new interim CEO has been appointed, and as soon as he came back, he dismissed the actual share buyback program which the company announced. So you'll notice that Starbucks, right here, Starbucks announces a halt to stock buyback, shares fall. So that's one of the reasons why the stock is selling off again. $80 is going to be that support level, resistance $95. And that's good, because it is one of my dividend plays again. Will give us the opportunity to DCA into this as well. All right, so we just took out the high from last week, which is actually very, very good. Very strong move to the upside on this. And yeah, this is simply just our chart and our market positioning, how we want to position this market. This has been moving up very nicely. So I haven't sold the cash that I put on AMD yet. I like to do it on red days. Right now it's up over 1%, so the premium is going to be far lower. So I haven't done that yet, but I'm looking at the next red day for AMD, and then premiums will change from the video that I posted. Premiums might have already changed a lot, so I will be doing that. As soon as I do that, of course, the alert will go out to all of our members. And then so all right, LABU is up close to 4%. I think it is time, because I do feel like, I don't know why, but I'm honestly getting FOMO into this. On LABU, on biotech in general, not LABU, but in biotech in general, I feel like I'm getting FOMO. And the reason I say that is because, biotech has really underperformed for the last 12, 16, 18 months. And XBI is almost always pushed up. The only biotech stock that I had was Vertex, right? VRTX was the only stock that I had that, was kind of representing a little bit of biotech. And it's done really well year to date. It's up over 18, actually 20%, close to 21%. So it's done very well for us. But I do think that even though that this stock has performed well and it's pushed higher, the overall biotech sector still has not really pushed up, right? We're still down for this ETF, 46, 47%. If you look at IBB, that's also down from all-time highs, close to 24, 25%. And, today's up over 1%. So I don't know. I do think and believe that there's big moves for biotech. Yes, so $95 strike is what I will be doing it for. So Marcel, any chance that AMD will go to $100 soon? Let's take a look at the daily chart. So it has been consolidating sideways, right? So it's definitely not been able to make a higher high. It's definitely getting rejected at those horizontal highs at 124, getting rejected at 118. So ideally, I do have that $100 as that next support. This is the next support. And another thing that I wanted to point out for AMD is that you'll notice that it kind of goes through areas of consolidation, and then it pops, right? In the past, if you look at the technicals, there's been times where AMD doesn't do anything, right? It just trades sideways. So if I were to kind of remove the entire technicals, just make it like a completely bland chart, you'll notice what happens here, right? Consolidation. So lots of consolidation in that range here. And then a big rally, right? Big rally to the upside over here, going from about $28 all the way to up to $58 a share. Then fast forward to this, we saw a lot of consolidation here for AMD. So much consolidation in this range. This right here was the pandemic, of course, when it fell all the way down to $37, but then eventually big breakout to the upside, going from about $51 all the way up to $96. Once again, almost a 100% increase. And this right here was the longest sort of consolidation last year in 2021, right? So you'll notice this big consolidation range, just trading, hovering in between $70 and $92, and then a big breakout here again, going all the way up to $160. Now I feel like it's once again coming down and just found a new range, new support area between 100 and about 118, 124. And eventually once they report their earnings and once they report, so you can see how consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout. Right now just consolidating again. But this time is a little bit different. So it's not consolidation at a new high. It's definitely come down, consolidation at a new low, which is about $100 to about 124. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a retest at 100 or possibly even sub 100, given the environment that we're in. But I like AMD over the long term. I think it's a very strong company. It's got a lot of growth in front of it. Still, great management, great balance sheet, great free cash flows. Everything is still pretty much intact for the company. So I'll be keeping a close eye at 100 and sub $100. All right, so how are we doing? NASDAQ's up over 83 basis points, so very strong momentum to the upside. Dow is trying to recover, still down about 40 basis points, primarily because of McDonald's, 3M, Procter & Gamble. Wow, Walgreens is really hurting right now. We got Coca-Cola, Boeing, Pfizer, Honeywell, Johnson & Johnson. Wow, so a lot of value names are just getting hit hard. And CRM, Microsoft are the only two, and Apple are the only three tech companies that are really pushing up. So we got Meta Platforms up 2.64%, very strong move, 230. Wow, did we just break out over 225 for Meta? Yes, so we are validating 225, and the next resistance is going to be $244. The high is going to be 231.15. That's the level to really break out of for Facebook. That's going to be high from previous week. And then we got PayPal up, wow, 3%. But again, I, for some reason, would not trust this because I've seen this play out the last week. And the QQQ seems to be on a very, very nice, okay, so we did see a breakout past 364 also. So very, very nice breakout past 364. So those are those early signs that you see from an intraday chart or like a 5-minute chart that we are in fact seeing higher highs, kind of like a breakout outside of this downtrending channel. And then also seeing a bit of a higher high being formed right now. And the next resistance and the target I'll have to point out is going to be, I'd say like 367, 366, like around these two levels right here. Right, so we got rejected once here, another time here. So I'd call it right around that level to really watch for QQQs moving forward. That's it's going to be about another 0.5% move to the upside. Not impossible, but would be asking too much from the markets on a day like today. So, all right. So let's just run through the whole list again as we were going. Twitter's up 23%, very, very nice move. Neo up 8%. We got DraftKings, Fubo TV, JD.com, Roku. They're all pushing up very nicely. Square's up 6%. Strong move to the upside. Upwork, Upstart, look at that. Upstart giving us some nice greens on the day. It's actually at a very, very critical point. It is forming a very nice symmetrical triangle. So it's like at that moment where you can expect a big move very soon for Upstart. So keep it on your watch list. We got Fiverr, SoFi, LABU, Palantir. Palantir, look at that 1430 breakout. Almost here. We're starting to see that break to the upside for Palantir. 1430 is the level that we've just been struggling since January, since the beginning of this year. We've not been able to break out past 1430 here. So we did get up to 1446. Ideally, I'd like to see a close above 1430. A stronger close would be very nice for Palantir. That would be a nice breakout, from this previous high. Snapchat, APPS also pushing up very nicely. Shopify is back over $700. 713 is actually 740 is a resistance. So this is still lots of consolidation here for Shopify. All right, so just been trading sideways. Coinbase very nicely up. Facebook's very nicely up. PayPal, Spotify, Robinhood, Enphase. Yeah, lots of Google's up 1.6%. So far so good for a lot of companies. Amazon's up 1%. And the ones that are red, let's take a look. We got ZIM, $67. So this one, $62 is going to be that next support level to watch, really from a higher low perspective and from a horizontal support as well. We got CVS, Walgreens, we got Starbucks, Southwest, unfortunately just down about 1%. So not a lot of red, especially not on the NASDAQ side. It is mostly in the Dow Jones side. It's down about 0.5%. So VIX also coming right back down, still up, but red day so far. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA always finds a way, always. Regardless of what the market's doing, NVIDIA always finds a way to go green. Yes, I'm thinking about dollar cost averaging with NEO very soon. Might just be today to kind of buy some more shares. Waiting for like a good confirmation, at least a breakout. Past 2650. So far, it's had a very nice breakout from this, inverse head and shoulders. So, we were kind of forming this left shoulder, head, right shoulder, A couple failed breakouts. That was also because of the overall market and how we kind of turned towards the last 3 to 4 days of the week. But today, this breakout is pretty much confirmed, and 2650 is going to be that next level to watch. If you can get a nice breakout past this level, then yeah, there's going to be some confirmation of a potential reversal back higher. So I wouldn't mind kind of DCAing into NEO. Let's take a look at Square. We'll take a look at Facebook also. So Square also getting validated 132. 32. So Steve, that's great. Finally broke even with the NEO, so I sold out. So that's the overhead supply that I was talking about earlier, right? So that's the and again, great that you broke even. Congratulations. Very happy for you. But that's kind of like sometimes that's the overhead supply that plays a big role, right? If you're somebody who's been holding onto a stock that's been down like 20, 30, 40, 50%, hasn't moved in over a year, you get tired by holding that name, right? It's pretty much a dead money stock. So if you can minimize those losses, or if you can break even on that name, then the first instinct would be, I want to just get out. Get me out of this stock, right? That is the overhead supply that lots of companies pretty much struggle with, especially if they're down. So that's why the recovery becomes that much difficult. We went through the same thing with Tesla when it was down like 40, 50%. We went through the same thing with a lot of different companies, but eventually a recovery when it comes in, and when more long-term investors are part of the story, and as new buyers come in, that's when you see those big sort of moves to the upside. But for Square, going back 6.5% in the green here. Next resistance target want to be 160 here. That's the level that we're watching. We got a couple alerts here that went off. So NASDAQ up close to 1%, so a very, very nice move to the upside. And of course, we're seeing the relative performance chart now up close to 1%. 0.81 is the new level that we're watching. A very, very nice move. QQQ getting up to 366. Steve says I still have to get rid of XPeng. Yeah, I mean, XPeng reported some very strong numbers when it comes to deliveries. So, resistance next is going to be 46, 47. Actually, it's going to be a little bit lower than that, much lower than that. I'd say I'd watch this level at $41, $42. So yeah, Facebook got an alert for us at 231. So we're breaking past previous week's high. So that's very good. 244 is going to be that next resistance to watch. So that's going to be that next target for Facebook. So Xipeng, yeah, I know some people pronounce it Xipeng, Xpeng. It's the same thing, right? So I mean, we all know what we mean. All right, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to go over those. Any stocks you want me to talk about, any questions that you guys have. But yeah, 366 is going to be that next level. A very, very important level. But again, as I've mentioned before, it's not about where we open and how we trade intraday. It's all about the last power hour, 1 hour, where we close, right? Where we close, because a lot can happen during that time. We've seen the market sell off. We've seen the markets rally. The entire market changes in the last hour, right? So where we close is by far more important than where we open and where we trade right now. Can you pin your watch list? Yes, so my watch list is available, G, to all the members. So there should be links specific to my watch list. So you can actually take a look at that. So if you click on this pie, this is going to be available to you, right? So if you join our Discord, obviously you're going to have links to my charts, and you're going to have links to my entire watch list. So I've got 142 ticker symbols here. The first ones are going to be indices, relative performance charts, looking at the yields, the futures, everything. And then that's when you get into stonks. I just labeled it stonks. And then that's when you get all the individual watch lists, individual companies that I have on the watch list. And this is just one of the 7 watch lists that I have that I've shared with everybody, right? So 37% technology services. It's got different sectors here that you can take a look also. So that's available for everyone, the charts and the watch list. All right, let's take a look at C Limited. How is C Limited doing right now? So So Square, we have already gone over, Diane. So if you kind of go back a little bit, you should be able to see the comments and thoughts on Square. C Limited, I've done a complete detailed analysis on C when it was at roughly 121, I believe, $121. So I did point out some of the good and the bad for this company. Very, very strong revenue growth, very strong expansion in the number of customers and all that stuff. The actual shares outstanding have also gone up very much to 400 million shares, coming in from 313 million in Q2 of 2020. They still have long ways to go to achieve profitability. Valuation has certainly come down on a price to sales basis, but price of free cash flow is still very, very high. But C Limited, I do like from a software perspective, but it's all the qualitative analysis. The fundamentals, the quantitative analysis have not yet been developed, and that's something that the company needs to work on over time. So right now it's just consolidating in that range where we're getting rejected at 131, support at 111, so we're just in that range right now, and resistance is going to be next up at close to 152. We're still in this downtrending channel, which could very well break to the upside, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a high of 152 for C Limited. All right, so let's take a look at ARKK. So 2% in the green, big bullish divergence. Just like Biotech, I don't know. You just can't rule out Cathie Wood. She is definitely a big influence on the investment community, on the stock market, on in the finance world in general. And I just think that you can't rule her out when it comes to the future. I do think that she's going to play a big role when it comes to just ARK Invest and ETF investing in general. So that's why my gut tells me that she's still going to be able to pull it off. Regardless of the market environment that we're in right now. In the short term, yes, she's gone through a lot of volatility, but you can't judge anybody by just looking at the last year, last 12 months, 18 months, because that's not enough time. That is not enough time to really judge someone on their performance. Over the last 5 years, she's done really well. She's still been able to outperform, and obviously, many people think that that's because of Tesla, but even before Tesla's big rally, she's done well, right? So I think I've done some comparisons with ARK and S&P 500 and the NASDAQ ETF, but let me see if I can bring that up very quickly again. All right, let's see. All right, right here. So we're just gonna do the QQQ. We're gonna do percentage all time. No, monthly chart. So if you look at it on a 5-year perspective, she's literally now 11% above QQQs. QQQ's gone up 177% over the last 5 years, and ARK's up 188%. So slight outperformance. At one point, obviously, it was 565%, whereas the QQQ was up 156%. So fivefold before this entire sell-off. And now it's come down to just 10% of outperformance over the last 5 years. If you take a look at the last year, obviously this has been very brutal. QQQ is up 10% and ARK's down 43%, right? So big underperformance there. All time since inception, QQQ's higher, 30% higher, 261% for QQQs, and ARK is up 237%. So very, very interesting data there from ARK. So time will tell, what ends up happening for ARK. So Cathie has made so many bad decisions, though I find it hard to take her seriously anymore. Ken, I think that's a great point. I think her strategy has definitely changed, because if you take a look at the last 5 years, the markets have never gone through an environment where inflation was this high. Because again, if you look at inflation, we're going up to a 40-year high. So anything you see in the economics right now has not been seen in 40 years when it comes to inflation, right? And inflation going up to 8%, over 8%. Ever since Cathie Wood started investing for ARK, they have never gone through a high inflationary period, right? So that's new. They have also not gone through a tightening policy, which is far more aggressive than what we saw the last time, right? Back in 2018, 2019. So that is been another new factor that's playing a role. And then, the last thing, which is more of a disadvantage to ARK, but it's kind of like a benefit to all the investors. But a disadvantage for them, the biggest one, is basically them disclosing everything, right? Their shares, their trades, their being so transparent, which is good, which is very much applauded. But at the same time, when you're competing against some of the high frequency traders, algorithmic traders that are out there to obviously manipulate the market and take your lunch, they're not going to hold back, right? They're not gonna let you obviously get your returns when you're literally telling them what they're buying and what they're doing in the markets by the minute, by the day. So that's a big disadvantage to ARK. So I do agree. Yes, some of our decisions have been very poor, like getting out of Palantir, buying Twitter at the highs and then getting out of Twitter. She's been all over the place with that respect, but you got to give it to her when it comes to her conviction, right? Her thesis on just innovation and disruptive innovation. That's been just incredible. And I do like her take on the economics, on just the economy in general. I do like her take. Look at Tesla. Back up to almost 1100 QQQ for the win, really. Getting up to 366, up over 1.28% on the day. Big outperformance coming in from the NASDAQ relative to the S&P 500. So, very strong move. What do you guys think? Quick, breakout over 366, 367, or a rejection? Because right now, since the market's open, we haven't seen a single red candle on the 5-minute chart. What do you guys think? Quick, we got about 4 minutes left for this candle to close. A breakout past 366 or a rejection here. This is where our intraday rally stops. What do you guys think? We're seeing a little bit of sellers kind of stepping in. Richard says rejection, Sam says breakout, Benny says rejection, breakout. Whatever's bullish, so 370, rejection, breakout, rejection, reject. So reject the first time and then breakout. Afar, I like it. Very, very specific. So right now we're getting to a point where there's some indecision in the markets, right? So we're seeing a doji candle now. After 4 or 5 significant green candles, we're now starting to really feel the pressure from the sellers, because now we're seeing some indecision. Look at the body. There's like literally no body on that candle. So you can just kind of feel the indecision happening at 366. Jolly says reject and then destroy. So 7 million volume already, close to 8 million. But yeah, 3 minutes left for this candle to close. Lots of indecision right now happening. We'll put our alerts ready and we'll see if this continues. Tesla is definitely contributing. NVIDIA joining the party also, up over 2.3%. Meta platforms up close to 3%. PayPal giving up on some of the gains, with Apple and Amazon also pushing up very, very nicely, with AMD also just struggling right now at the moment. So how is Shopify doing? Let's take a look. Shopify is up 2.5%, so 710 is where we are right now. So wow, lots of indecision. 1 minute chart, we're just going sideways. RSI definitely very overbought here on the 1 minute chart. So, very nice consistent push up, but it'll be interesting where we go from here. Twitter is kind of giving up on some of the gain. Oh, there we go. Starting to make a new high of day. 366.77. So Twitter is still up over 19.5%, but it's kind of giving up on some of the gains there. Vertex, look at that, 266. So quiet now. Yeah, I'm just looking at the price action here. It's just consolidating sideways at that level. This lighting makes my hair gray. Really? No, my hair is really black. It is very, very, very black. So yeah, definitely the lighting. I do have different colors, by the way. Let me see if I can try out different colors. That's a little bit blue. That's red. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that is red. This is green. I'm going to keep it on green because the markets are green today. So, but yeah, we'll keep it on green. So any catalyst this week to sway the markets? Nothing really. We just have the FOMC meeting. So as we discussed in our previous video, there's not really anything to go over. No earnings really. Not that any important earnings, and then from an economic standpoint, we don't have a lot of things except for the FOMC meeting that comes out. FOMC meeting minutes that are released on Wednesday at 2 p.m. I believe. All right, so we're getting a rejection there from the. All right, so look at that candle. Lots of indecision. I mean, it's got pretty much no body whatsoever. We got up to as high as 366.77, got down to 366.24. Lots of indecision, and we're definitely getting rejected at that level right now, with possibly a second battle between the bulls and the bears, if you want to call it. But yeah, should be interesting how this candle closes. But man, this is so interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I like watching the price action and just looking at how are we going to trade and how we're going to close. All right, TLT, let's take a look. TLT is slightly down about 1%. Yields should be pushing higher here on the day. So yields, 10-year yields are up over 1.5% right now. So AMC is slightly down about 3%. GME also pulling back 3%. Tattooed Chef slightly down about 1.6%. CVS close to 2%. Moderna's 2%. Mara's flat. LABU is just up over 0.5%. Not a whole lot. Apple charging, look at that, 178. A very, very strong move to the upside from Apple. Big breakout, right? 176, we'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support. Next resistance target at 182. Definitely buyers and sellers just so there's just a consolidation there. Low was 366.21, 366.23. We're just consolidating sideways there. Very similar to what we saw here before that breakout finally came through. So definitely looks weak. I mean, RSI is coming down from an overbought level. There we go. Starting to break to the downside here. Michael, Caddy, what phone do you have? I do have an iPhone. Why? Having a hard time trimming. Would this week be a good or a bad week to trim since April is known as a bullish month? It really depends on a lot of different factors. Like if you're trading, if you're swing trading, then yeah, the volatility is definitely down. Obviously take these market rallies, take these green days as a way to kind of trim some positions, and if you want to reduce some of the allocation percentage wise on some of the names. But if you are investing long term, then it doesn't really matter where the volatility really is. All that matters is the individual companies that you choose to invest in and what the valuation looks like for those companies. So bank stocks are suffering because we've talked about this before. The bank stocks are right now struggling. Let's just go over to our bank watch list because of recession fears. Right now, we've got a lot of U.S. banks down. JP Morgan, by the way, also Jamie Dimon said that I think their exposure might be close to $1 billion in Russia, which is actually much higher than previously anticipated from the company, which was at roughly $500 million or whatever. I did a video on all the banks as well. But there's recession fears definitely, put pressure on banks. If there's any type of slowdown for housing, that's also going to put pressure on banks, because if you really think about it, how do banks make their money, right? Banks make their money through charging interest on the dollars that they lend, right? They make money on borrowers by charging interest on credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, all that stuff. If the demand for auto loans, for mortgages, for credit card spending, all that drops, the banks, their outlook starts to weaken. So right now, I think the recession fears are getting priced in a little bit for the banks. So that's why we're not seeing as much of a momentum here. Emma, Caddy just joined. What do you think about Tesla? JP says Tesla sucks. Love it. I love it. Getting those opposing views. I love it. So Tesla here, 1120 is going to be that next resistance, right? So that's going to be that next level to watch, really. We haven't really come down to fill that gap. So this right here is still going to be that gap for Tesla that we left, 1,040 all the way up to 1,050 levels. But right now, just more or less consolidation sideways. RSI is still overbought, and so is the MACD. So that's something to be cautious about. But delivery numbers were good. And I think we are going to be expected to hear about something about Cybertrucks as well very soon. There might be some announcements. But 1120 is going to be that resistance right now that we're watching. And support level is going to be $1,000. Valuation multiples is still rich right now, but they can compress very soon, very quickly if the company continues to accelerate their numbers when it comes to fundamentals and financials. But RSI MACD very overbought. So from a technical standpoint, that's something to keep in mind. And we just broke past $1,100. So very, very strong move to the upside. There we go. We're going up for that second retest, possibly breaking out over 367 here. Still think PayPal will hold up gains today. Really depends on the NASDAQ. Looks like it is going to. Looks like the markets are holding up very nicely for the most part right now. There we go. We're getting that test right at 366.88. Look at where the red line is. 366.88. The high for the day, 366.88. Crazy. Kiss the red line, yeah. Literally, we just tapped that red line to the T, and now we're just seeing so much back and forth here. The fight is on. Where are my bulls? Where are the bulls? Just type in, if you're a bull in this market, obviously if you're expecting the markets to break out, just type in a rocket emoji. But if you're expecting the markets to go down right now from here, just type in like a down stock market down emoji. Let's see. Let's just do like a quick emoji poll. All right, so we're definitely seeing a breakdown here after getting tagged at 366. Love it. All right, so perfect tag at that level at 366.88, and now we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback once again. Let's see what stocks are actually dropping here. So Apple's pulling back. Tesla is still holding up, although coming down just under 1100 again. Meta Platforms holding above 230. PayPal is holding up above 119, close to 120. AMD, just weird price action. So much consolidation here for AMD. Amazon's kind of holding up, and Shopify is up to 717. Very nice move on Shopify. All right, guys. So I'm probably gonna end it there and call it right here. Make sure that you drop a like and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. How many likes do we have right now? We have 124. Really? Come on. We got over 400 people watching. The least you guys can do is just drop a like. It really helped me out. So yeah, make sure that you drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also check out the links down in the description if you want to join. And of course, be a part of our money investing community. The market so far very green, especially the NASDAQ here. The Dow not so much. S&P is also slightly in the green, so we're seeing that NASDAQ outperformance relative to the S&P 500. Rudy, so our side between 30 and 70, what does that mean for an investor? That's mean that it's in a neutral range. It's neither overbought nor oversold. So very, very neutral for the RSI to be around 40, 50 levels. But once again, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a fantastic green day. Lots of stocks pushing higher. So hope that continues the entirety of the day. So thanks again for joining. I'm going to jump over to our Discord. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me there.